It's another beautiful day, a day of grace, a day of beautiful sunshine, a day of hard work. Good morning. So, our gardening journey in 2023 started in April, very late because here in Namibia, April is somewhat the beginning of winter. So, the temperatures were cooling down very fast. But we had just moved to this village and I knew I had to get a garden in. So, on this particular morning, we started off by trying to map out the garden beds. I somewhat had already come up with a plan on how I wanted my garden to look. Because we didn't have a long enough measuring tape, we took a rope, which you are seeing here. I am marking out every meter just on the rope. We needed to get to at least 5 meters to be able to use this rope to effectively measure out our beds. So this rope itself was 10 meters, although like I said, we only measured out I think until 5 meters because I knew my beds would not be longer than 5 meters.
So at this point, we are done marking out the garden beds and have spread manure for it. Like I said, we are using goat manure.
We had 12 beds in total. 6 were vertical and 6 were horizontal. So the horizontal first 3 were 1 by 5 meters, and then all the verticals are 1 by 3 meters, and the horizontal at the far end of the garden were 1 by 4 meters. So after we were done marking them, we actually used a baby powder to mark them out. So the white substance is baby powder. And then we added manure, goat manure to the beds, which I later found out was kind of useless because the soil was hard, rocky, and very compact.
So after watering them in and leveling, we are actually receiving showers, but we're still outside working. But this is what it looks like. Mhm.
Then followed a beautiful rainbow that you could look at the whole day. It's amazing what God's creation can do. This was really beautiful. I couldn't let it pass by without taking footage for you guys. The next day, we had a beautiful visitor in the house. Oh, guys, this little guy caused such a frenzy in our house that day. Some people were very scared, some people ran for their lives, and then there were people like me who were amazed by nature. I found it so fascinating, and I loved seeing him in our yard. So there I was taking a video. Up he went and he bolted, never to be seen again in our yard.
So we have gone through and put mulch on all the beds, but beds like this one and the last two right there that have nothing, those ones I have just put grass and we've been watering. I'm trying to amend the soil by mixing the grass with the soil, just so that the soil cannot be too clayish and there will be some compost and organic matter in those beds. Hi guys, it's a beautiful morning. It's just before sunrise. You see the sun usually rise just above that mountain. It's not up yet, but it's a beautiful morning and I'm up. It has exactly been 1 week since we planted the garden, and today I want to go through with you and just give you a progress of what is happening.
Roughly a week later, our seedlings had started to emerge. What was first to come up was the garlic, followed by the onions that we planted as onion seeds. Our spinach and beetroot had started to grow, the beans were out, and the carrots were also out. So it was a happy time to be alive. You know, I live for plants breaking through, and I also live for harvests. However, we faced a challenge with birds that were eating up our seedlings, such that we had to use a mosquito net to cover our other seedlings, such as cabbage, that were just emerging, because every day you came and you realized that the birds had taken a snip out of them, so we had to protect them. In the middle of all this work, one of our acquaintances allowed us to go pick calyx from his roselle that were somewhat ripe. I jumped to the chance because I've always wanted to make roselle jam. It was my first time making it, but it came out so beautiful. It was a family favorite, so this made me want to plant roselle hibiscus this year. I am hoping I have planted enough, because let's just say I really want to make more jam this year. It was beautiful, sweet and sour, not too much sugar, and this is the beauty of making your own jam at home. It's because you can measure out your jam, and with roselle hibiscus jam you don't need to put in gelatin, because the gelatin or the peptin that helps it set is contained in the seeds, and that's why I boiled the seeds first before pouring the water into the calyx. And guys, it was just so beautiful. I suggest if you ever have an abundance of fruits, you make jam, because it's delicious and it's a good way to add value to your produce and to preserve your food.
Yum, yum, yum.
On the 30th of May, we received our first frost. So you can see here that our cucumber leaves were burned. This prompted us to cover our frost tender plants with a plastic sheet. Actually, we didn't use a greenhouse plastic, but we used the plastic that was affordable, that we could get our hands on. However, we quickly realized that we were harboring and housing mice in this plastic. It seems like because it was so nice and warm and cozy, they found it a beautiful home too. The same mice were eating off my plants, and soon I didn't have any pepper plants left, because they had eaten all of them, which was very disappointed, to say the least.
We going to a composting place that sells compost, and we are going to collect compost for the garden. So yeah guys, this is the compost that we got. Like I said, we exactly bought a cubic meter. Okay, come on, are you gonna move? Oh, that was very fast. Okay, again. So what are your plans? What are you gonna do from here since you're moving out? And guys, look at some of these blooms. Guys, look at this bloom. Hey, the blooms.
Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad is here.
Oh, he came.
Guys, look at this. I was not ready.
Over a few months, the garden was now fully established. It was producing and putting out a lot of food. We were now able to harvest our dinner and lunches, our vegetables from our own backyard, which was now starting to save us money. Also, can you notice how quickly the landscape was changing? When we moved here, it was just field, but now our neighbor's house was fully completed. I was very excited when our shilling peas started giving out food. It was our very first time growing peas, and I'm telling you, this peas produced and gave and gave. I am excited to plant more peas this year, although I want ones that didn't take too long to mature, because these were 120 days to harvest, I think. But I have seen that there were some that were 60 to 85 days, and I'm aiming to get those this year. So here I'm showing you just some of the pods and the peas that were inside them. They were really delicious. They were fresh. They made a good addition to our potato salad, which is our family favorite. So we were really excited with the abundance that came out of this garden, and especially by this peas. Mid-August, the peppers that were decimated by rats had come back, and they were doing very well and were already setting blooms. And I took this opportunity to go to the local nursery to buy peppers, and I bought sweet California peppers just to replace those plants that were completely eaten off and had died back, so I had some space in my bed without plants. Here you go. Say thank you.
Right here, some little pickles where my hand is. See them? And a pear-shaped tomato. You could see it, yeah, right there.
Meanwhile, the peas continued giving us some food. I guess we can all agree that this was definitely Twapi's favorite thing to harvest last year. And then came our first onion harvest. Oh my goodness, I was very excited. This was the first time I was growing onions in this hard, compact soil, and I got a harvest. Hooray! But you can see that it's changing color, and I don't know, I think this turns red. I don't know whether it's yellowish or red when it's ripe. It's just so exciting to see them turning color. There's another one somewhere there, I think, that is turning a little bit of color. I cannot lift all of it, but I have realized that all the tomatoes are being hidden here, and you would wonder why I didn't prune my tomatoes. It's mostly because our sun is extremely hot, and if I pruned these tomatoes, a lot of them will suffer from sunburn. You already know the story if you see me carrying this basket. This is our first pepper. This is a paprika plant, and this is our first pepper. You guys know that I'm very fascinated about big big sweet peppers. The rest of the year had a lot of harvests. We harvested our peppers and they were delicious, organically grown. And then more onions. The onions we really enjoyed last year.
Forget flowers. Who doesn't want a bouquet of onions? Forget flowers. Who doesn't want a bouquet of perfectly grown organic onions?
Not only did we enjoy the onions themselves, but we also enjoyed the eggs. I particularly loved them over an omelette. They were very delicious. But we also made a lot of onion leaves powder which we then used in our cooking and we're still using to this day. How exciting! We also dried our herbs. So right here, we dried our paprika, we dried our parsley, and all the other herbs that we got from the garden. And then finally, it was time to harvest our garlic. I have to admit, we left them in the ground for quite longer than we should have. However, I was really doubting this harvest, but I was pleasantly surprised. We got a lot of garlic, which we are using to this very day. Considering that I'm gardening in my backyard, this is just an indicator of how much food you can grow in your own backyard. You can grow food anywhere and you don't need too much space. Start today, grow a garden and start producing your own food because food security begins in your backyard, on your balcony, and so forth. By December, our garden had a very bad case of mealybugs. I didn't know what they were at the time, and I have to admit, I didn't do quite a good job at spraying them, so they took over the garden. So, although we were still getting produce from the garden, slowly but surely the mealybugs took over, and there was just no escaping them. It was also time for us to go for our annual holiday, so we left for the farmstead, and that was the end of our 2023 gardening journey.